guys, what's going on? Third Street Reactions here. We're back. I'm Shane.
Zakk.
And we're back here with the Clone Wars. Zakk, we're back here with the Mandalorian arc.
Obi-Wan was dispatched by the Council
to
Mandalore to investigate, I believe it was an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
I think there was some objection to it because the Mandalorians are pacifists.
Duchess Satine, she kind of rejected the whole premise.
Yeah. And so he goes there and he's got a history with Satine.
Yeah.
And he's doing his Obi-Wan flirt.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of... He's
got that going on with Asajj Ventress too.
He does.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he's flirting with her and carrying on. And
you know he was sneaking out of the temple, butt fucking hell out of her. No, I'm just kidding.
That's very possible. The Night Watch or whatever.
Yeah.
Not night.
Yeah, the Night Watch.
Wall, the Night Watch.
Yeah, those guys.
Over to the fucking town.
Yeah.
Banging.
One thing I remember, and I was editing this, I just put it up recently. There is a painting, and we talked about Picasso and stuff like that. So do you remember
Very abstract painting, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a painting, and
I guess I wouldn't call it abstract, but it's definitely
this Picasso painting right here. Mm-hmm. That was after. I think it was after World War I, when I think Spain was bombed, and I could be completely misremembering what I read. It was completely inspired off this. Yeah, so it definitely...
I know Spain saw a civil war during that period.
Yeah, there was some...
They were going, and actually it was around the time of Hitler and World War II, because Hitler was sponsoring, or at least supporting, the fascist regime. In
the actual mural that's in the Clone Wars, you barely see it, because of the way they shot the show. They didn't turn the digital camera to see it very well. So one thing he commented about was, look at this person on the left. Her tits are hanging out. And I noticed right there on the left, the woman who's holding the baby.
The baby, yeah.
Those has the same art style. I don't know if those are tits or what they are. Or maybe it's just that's a part of the dress that goes up. But there are a lot of fucking similarities to this thing.
Well, her tits hanging out, but she's supposed to be feeding her baby that is dead in her arms.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But I know this was obviously, it was an anti-war statement.
Yeah.
And it was a powerful one to people at the time. But in the Mandalorian mural, all the people are suffering, and the guy in the middle, the Mandalorian, is strong, tall, way bigger than all the Jedi people.
The sword,
yeah. It was a good one, and like you said, you hit on some things, they have passed, and we're going to see more of that going forward. I wasn't interested in this the first two times I saw it, because I've always been more interested in Jedi and Sith. But now that I've watched The Mandalorian, it's completely opened my eyes up to, like, you know what? There's some really cool stories you can tell with these guys. So, that's it.
The safety of the Duchess Satine is of the utmost importance. The Death Watch will stop at nothing to assassinate her before she pleads her case to the Senate.
The Death Watch may be backed by the Separatists, so stay sharp.
Kind of like Padme Amidala in Attack of the Clones. Or even Episode 1, where they had to get her to talk to the Senate.
I sense some anxiety from you about the Duchess. She couldn't be in safer hands.
Yes, I know.
Then why...
Never mind. It's all in the past.
Oh, so you're close to her.
I knew her.
A long time ago.
That's kind of like the Episode 2 Attack of the Clones elevator beginning.
It's like that fucking thing from Toy Story.
Yeah.
The baby head.
This Joy's got a fat ass, man.
I say the moment we...
As the designated regent of 1,500 systems, I speak for thousands of worlds that have urged me to allow them to stay neutral in this war.
And yet some might argue that the strongest defense is a swift and decisive offense.
All these fucking veterans coming in here, fucking up our party.
Forgive me for interrupting, Your Highness. I meant no disrespect.
Senators, I presume you are acquainted with the collection of half-truths and hyperbole known as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That's terrible.
I remember a time when Jedi were not generals, but peacekeepers.
We are protectors, Highness. Yours at the moment. We fight for peace.
What an amusing contradiction.
I do not remember you as one to hide behind...
That fat fucking Twi'lek with the slim, thick little twigs around him.
Duchess Satine and General Kenobi have proven there are two sides to every dilemma.
Indeed.
Now,
Indeed.
There may be two sides to every dilemma, but the Duchess only favors hers.
You're talking shit, but just loud enough to where people hear you.
Yeah.
Careful over there. It's dark. Yeah, very funny, Mixer.
Obviously, he's gonna die.
messing around.
Jesus.
If one can be heard over the clanking of their battle droids.
Oh, the sarcasm of a soldier.
The delusion of a dreamer.
Duchess, Master Jedi, it's been a long trip. I think we could all use a little rest.
And Kenobi's the most reasonable Jedi. I mean, he doesn't like war.
It's funny that Anakin's like
So
enjoying this.
he's so amused, yeah.
Fine.
There's been a lot of great fan casting for her. Duchess Satine.
She looks like a Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, like Kate Blanchett was one of them, and there's others like that.
Yeah.
The edit's really good with the contrast.
An extended mission when I was younger.
Remember that little droid from the Book of Boba
spent
Fett?
a year on Mandalore, protecting the
Also, I know in the Clone Wars.
would threaten. They sent bounty hunters after us. We were always on the run, living hand to mouth, never sure what the next day would bring.
Sounds romantic.
Yeah, it's when they were kids. They're crazy.
A civil war killed most of Satine's people, hence her aversion to violence. When she returned, she took on the difficult task of rebuilding her world alone.
You didn't stay to help her.
That would have been problematic. My duty as a Jedi demanded I be elsewhere.
Demanded? But it's obvious you had feelings for her. Surely that would affect your decision.
Oh, it did. I live by the Jedi Code.
Of course. As Master Yoda says, a Jedi must not form attachments.
Yes, but he usually leaves out the undercurrent of remorse. Yes, Captain.
General, something's wrong with Scar.
Makes you sad, doesn't it?
Well, what have we here? Looks like the contents of this box are missing.
That's definitely an empty box.
Yeah.
Red-Eye, where have you been? You've had us all worried. Red-Eye?
Pretty sweet looking droid.
Yep.
Oh fuck!
The lift!
They're laughing.
I hate the idea of that droid.
There's assassin probes down here.
One made it up the lift. I'll try to hold the others here. Quickly, secure the lifts.
There might be one left.
Damn!
Fucking holes, Zakk! I can't stand them.
Reminds me of the Lost in Space movie with Gary Oldman and William Hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's a cool shot, though.
Yeah.
And then Pacifist carrying a pistol.
Uh-huh.
Do you always carry a deactivator?
Oh, yeah, so.
I distinctly remember carrying you to safety.
I meant the scar I got after you fell and dropped me.
Oh.
I'm looking for the droid that services.
One of our 4 distinguished senators appears to be a traitor.
I sense it too.
Duchess, you are not eating.
I have no appetite.
Begging your pardon. You must keep
I have plenty of appetite.
Yeah.
Excellent.
This morsel might prove too much even for the legendary appetite of Orn-Free Tar. Enjoy.
I don't want to be known to have a legendary appetite.
Oh, second thought.
My theory is our little friend will attack the Duchess and anyone who defends her, except the traitor who programmed it.
Take it away, please.
Obi-Wan, this line of questioning borders on torture.
I'm trying to expose a bigger threat.
Oh, fuck.
But it seems to like you, Senator Merrick. Well, Prince?
Really, General Kenobi, you're quite clever.
Brian Hay.
You're coming with me.
Dude, what are you gonna do, bro? You know?
found the little ones. What about the mother?
Haven't seen it.
Vader.
Yep.
No, please, I beg you.
Monster!
Asshole.
You're a horrid monster!
Get used to it.
What are you gonna do when you land?
This may not be the time to ask, but were you and Satine ever...
I don't see how that has any bearing on the situation at hand.
Okay. Imagine how much it would have changed if he were just open with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, or if Obi... Yeah.
I mean, even if Obi-Wan was open with him
Yeah.
right now, it might encourage it later.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a hell of a thing. If you're gonna compromise... I mean, I know they have shielding keeping the air in too.
Yeah, but if you
Hear
compromise
this,
the
Obi-Wan.
integrity.
You
Yeah.
go find your girlfriend.
Right. No, Anakin, she's not my...
Obi, if you have any respect for me, you will not take such risks with so many people's lives at stake.
Satine, don't.
It was got a great fluid action motion.
I don't know quite how to say this, but I've loved you from the moment you came to my aid all those years ago.
I don't believe this.
Satine, this is hardly the time or place for... All right. Had you said the word, I would have left the Jedi Order.
That is touching. Truly it is. But it's making me sick, and we really must be going.
So I wouldn't be that kind of bad guy.
Romantics.
What will you do? If you shoot me, you prove yourself a hypocrite to every pacifist ideal you hold dear. And you, Kenobi, you are no stranger to violence. You'd be hailed as a hero by everyone on this ship. Almost everyone.
The classic.
And then, who will strike first and brand themselves a cold-blooded killer?
Me?
Seems like smiling.
Anakin.
What? He was gonna blow up the ship.
Right?
I'm still not sure about the beard.
Why? What's wrong with it?
It hides too much of your handsome face.
Oh.
Very remarkable woman.
She is indeed.
Guys, that was a reaction. My rewatch, but basically my reaction. I liked it a lot more when I watched it the third time. What are you?
I really like that episode.
Yeah.
It's the first time, I think, in all of Star Wars that I've actually felt any genuine brotherhood between Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
Because the movies didn't do it very well. I'm sorry, but they, like, everything was very, very George Lucas. And
Yeah. I mean, I thought the third one had parts of it, but the second one they weren't even together really to the end, and it was more of a father-son relationship. I think
that's how it's always been. Like, it's never felt like they were on an even keel.
like a brotherhood.
Yeah, a brotherhood. It was more like
he's
kind of like the father figure that Anakin wasn't supposed to have, and it just they can get each other's humor and they get along well, but it was never like that close. Like, it wasn't that meaningful.
Well, yeah, and I think part of that is because I think the surprising storyline, I think they do such a good of telling in 22 minutes of Kenobi's past with Duchess Satine. I mean, they set it up in the first one.
He had a love.
Yeah, he did, and he chose the order.
He did, but he also said that if you just said the word, it's kind of like one of those things where they both like each other, but neither one of them wants to like speak up and make it happen. Mm-hmm. Because she didn't say that she actually loved him until then. Yeah, and he didn't say like, if you just would have told me, I would have left the order. Yeah, it's like you just
sounds like a big fucking misunderstanding.
Yeah, it's like you just anticipate the other person's going to be the one to make the first step. Yeah. And then they never do, so you just assume that, well, it's just not what it is, it's not going to happen, whatever, and you go your ways, and you find out that, well, it could have happened, and you wasted all those years. Yeah. Now Obi-Wan has a beard, and she's a, whatever,
a duchess, whatever that is, yeah. Death Watch is looming. They send those assassin probe droids, which were pretty similar to, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but the probe droids we see in Episode 5. Yeah. And
the Imperial Pope droids, like they have the Lego sets of them that are badass.
Yeah.
I never have bought one, but they're really cool.
Yeah.
But I love the design of that. The mechanical design of that droid. In this
it was
episode.
cool, but it was scary as
like,
shit.
With the pores.
And this
the
whole
tiny.
Yeah, that's
fucking,
disgusting.
Yeah.
And that's part of the shit I'm talking about.
Reminds me of Junji Ito, I think is the name.
Yeah.
He's a manga artist.
Okay.
He does a lot of horror.
Mm-hmm.
And he's...
Yeah, that's horror.
He did a lot of the holes.
Yeah.
And hands and...
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's a horrible thing.
Yeah, there's an African frog. No, I'm sorry, South America, where the male lays the eggs on the female's back, and the skin grows over, and when it's ready, they start popping out like pimples.
Like gremlins.
I've said this before, and you said that in response to the last thing I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gremlins, man.
It's disgusting. I hate it. I don't have a paranoia because I know paranoia is crippling and it cripples you. It's just more of an extreme disgust.
It just makes me want to smash something with a hammer.
Yeah, it was terrible. But it was cool. It was effective. And like
it worked. It was a really cool, smart mechanical design. I appreciate it.
And in a 22-minute cartoon for kids, they made pretty good horror. I mean, the elements of horror were pretty good.
They were.
Yeah. Using that thing as a puppet. I mean, that thing using the clone trooper as a puppet.
Yeah.
It was effective. They had the part in the very beginning where they're on an elevator lift, just like in Attack of the Clones in the very beginning. He's like, "You're sweating. Relax. I haven't seen you in 10 years, Master." Yeah. But the roles were reversed.
It was cool to see the other side of Obi-Wan because usually he's like the goody two shoes.
Yeah.
Kind of shit, and you find out he really did have a daring life where he had attachments.
And that gives weight to his decisions.
Well, what he said about Yoda too.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it was the guy. The
remorse you feel.
He usually leaves out the undercurrent of remorse or the undertow.
Yeah.
Of remorse.
Yeah. So, and I think that
Undertow is a fantastic Lamb of God song.
But I think that gives more weight to his decisions of him being a great Jedi Master. Is he wasn't raised in this bubble and didn't have the temptation. Because that's one thing about Anakin. The argument for him was definitely he's tempted on a different level because he had a different childhood. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he came in at 10. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan was tempted on some level, and then he chose the Jedi Order. Although if he might have chosen differently if he knew exactly how Satine felt.
Yeah, I think that if he was presented with the option, obviously he's pointed out that he just would have. I knew I had the option, but I guess for him it's just like, well, I'm committed, and she hadn't said anything, and it's like they both loved each other, but they.
Yeah, I mean we know how Kenobi's story ends, so but I can just say that they have a great story, but we know the ending of Kenobi's story. So I don't want to say anything else. But we had Nuna, which is like the turkey legs are eating on the table, which we see that in the deserter on the table when they're sitting there talking. Rex, he's sitting there talking to the deserter guy. Yeah. That's what they're eating. Even though like the video games have kind of downplayed the coolness of Vader's saber throw, we did see a saber throw from Anakin.
Well, it harkens back to Episode 6.
Yeah.
And him... that fucking thing, but and it's sloppy when you look at it. But that whole scene and that whole showdown at the end of 6 is still great.
6 is my favorite OT movie.
Mostly
because of the ending.
It was for me growing up.
6, yeah. Now it's
because
5,
of the Emperor and shit like that.
Yeah.
5 for some reason because of the sets and like the scenery.
Yeah.
Like I hated Bespin growing up. I just thought it was stupid. I thought it was like this puffy cloud fucking city. Who cares? And these stupid little dual twin ships that are flying around and fuck them. But I watched it relatively recently, at least within the last year, and it's. I don't know. Something about it is great. Like the interior of
it's
Bespin.
great. And when you get into the the part where they're dueling, when you get into the underbelly.
The interior of Bespin.
It's amazing.
It is.
It's a great
really
place
cool.
to duel.
Because 6, there's a lot of woods.
You're right. Like I would say, I couldn't argue like 5 as a movie might be better than 6 as a movie. At the time,
your favorite?
6 had a lot of critics at the time. A lot of people hated it. They hated the Ewoks. They thought the ending, they wanted Vader to not be redeemed, which I think is a terrible idea.
I think so too.
The Duchess's ship's called the Coronet. One thing they had in mind when they designed it, they wanted this thing to be the Titanic. It's like the nicest, like most outlandish looking thing. All the rich people are on it.
Very lavish.
Yeah,
very
and it looks really weird. It's
I
like
don't like it because it's like really long.
Yeah, it goes in like this.
I mean, you have the B fighters, the B-wing fighters.
Yeah, they're kind of like that.
They fly like that.
Yeah.
They don't fly like horizontally.
Yeah.
They fly vertically. and the Slave One.
Yeah.
It flies.
It's different. Like the Slave One is like this. This thing is like that.
Well, I know. Like the Slave One is the most badass fucking ship I've seen in Star Wars. I love it. I think I still love it more than the Mandalorian's current custom Naboo fighter. Even though that thing is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's not iconic. You know what I mean?
Well, it's so badass though. That it's like, okay, I love this ship.
Yeah.
But the Slave One is still my favorite.
It's great. It's iconic.
Cool how they addressed in. And they probably addressed it in the originals, too.
No, I think you're right. I think the Mandalorian addressed it first, exactly what happens to the cockpit on the inside.
Yeah.
It's great.
And when they did that in the prequels.
Yeah.
So...
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's then the actual ship levels out.
And then you hear the
thrusters
sounds.
are behind, and like that ship sounds badass. It does badass things. It looks badass. Yeah. It has badass people piloting it.
Yeah.
It is like...
yeah. Like, I wonder what it does for Anakin's character internally to see that someone that he looks up to as a Jedi, and he probably feels like a hypocrite on the inside because he's married and stuff like that. He sees, okay, Obi-Wan did struggle with some of these things, and he has a soul, he has a heart. He's not just a... I don't think Anakin thinks he's a robot.
But he probably feels more or less like Obi-Wan is like kind of self-righteous.
Yeah, like Obi-Wan wouldn't understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But maybe he would. Yeah, but we...
Yeah, it's a shame that conversation never happened because if Obi-Wan had told him, been open about it, and like had a heartfelt discussion regarding that matter, then it would have at least opened Anakin to the idea of revealing to Obi-Wan what's going on.
Yeah.
And trusting in their friendship.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking that Obi-Wan would probably turn him in or out him or whatever, then he'd get kicked out. So I mean, it's not like Anakin's making any fucking money.
Yeah.
So it's
he's still like Padme making get off his ass and get a job at Dexter's Diner.
Yeah, it's not like us that when we lose our jobs, there's livelihood and so like involved. But for him, that motherfucker, he's just going gallivanting around.
I feel like he could do so. He could be an engineer. You know what I mean?
He could.
Yeah.
Work on ships. He'd be a mechanic.
Yeah. And I'll say this, one thing that's really cool about the Kenobi series that's coming is Hayden Christensen binged all of this in all Rebels because he said he wanted to incorporate that into his character, everything Anakin's gone through. Which I don't know how much you would need to do that for Vader, but I admire the fact that he did it.
I don't know because all of your expressions are inside of a mask.
Yeah.
So I guess as an actor, he could sit there and think to himself, okay, this is the best way for this suit to look to express this emotion. Like if he's taking it that seriously, it's really cool.
And
we know great actors. We don't know them, but we love some great actors that do that method acting shit. Mm-hmm. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you like what you saw here, you can like and you can subscribe. If you didn't like what you saw here, you don't have to do anything. Like maybe you're not doing anything with your life now anyway.
That's why
you are. Maybe you are very sensitive about it. I don't know, but.
You got something to say, Zakk, say it.
You don't have to like or subscribe or say anything. And if you want to, you can. It helps the algorithm. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can comment down below.